But Brandon, let's end this podcast like we always do, and that is making our picks for the NFL. This will be week 7. Mark actually let me down last week. Must have been a busy week for Mark because he didn't put in his picks on our pick spreadsheet. So there might be a chance I void my record, which I did really well. I went 10-5 last week.
I did horrible.
You did horrible. You did pretty bad, but you did better than the first time you were on the podcast and picked. So my overall record after going 10-5 last week, I am now 54, 37, and 2 because we have 2 ties. You have only been on the podcast 2 weeks. This is your 3rd week. The first week was week 3. You went 7-9 that week. That was also the week where both you, I, and Mark all lost in our Eliminator Challenge. We only lasted 3 weeks. You only lasted 1 week. Thank you to the Jaguars for you.
No, that was when we picked the Vikings and they lost to the Bills.
Yeah, no, Mark and I picked the Vikings. You picked the Jaguars against the Titans.
Did I? No,
Yeah.
I thought I picked the.
You put down. We've got You picked the Jaguars against the Titans. Either way, we all lost week 3, no matter what it was. But your total between the 2 weeks, after a 7-9 and a 6-3, I believe, you were at 16-15 in 2 weeks. So nearly a 500.
What was I last week? You said 6-3.
9-6. That's what I meant to say. 9-6. You're 16-15 overall. Little dyslexia up here in the head that I'm dealing with. But we are going to make our picks for this week, and it's all going to start with Thursday night football. The Denver Broncos, or as the TV announcer I heard said on Sunday, the Denver Nuggets, however you want to say it. They're going to go up against the Arizona Cardinals. Denver, a 1.5-point favorite. Who you going with, Denver or Arizona?
Well, Arizona's got a pretty soft run defense. Most people can run against them. Denver, even with this really kind of screwed up running back by committee type thing, like just get Devontae Booker out of there, okay? He's worthless, and Philip Lindsay can do what he does. Philip Lindsay and Royce Freeman should have a good week on Thursday. And this, as poor as Denver has been for the last couple of weeks, this is a week where they can get healthy. They can get a win. Arizona has shown some flashes. They got a win against San Francisco, but this is still a team that is in kind of a rebuilding, feeling themselves out, how they're going to do. I think Denver gets this win.
So you and I we've only picked the Thursday night game twice, obviously. The first time we both picked the Browns over the Jets and were right. Last week I picked the G-Men, you picked the Cardinals, and obviously you were right, I was wrong.
I picked the other bird. It was the Eagles.
Yes, and in this week we're both going to go Broncos. I have the Broncos as well. I'm not very high on the Cardinals. Their head coach Steve Wilkes said this week that all the coaches should be worried about their jobs, himself included. And I went, oh, you don't want to do that, Steve. Don't put yourself in the chud category. Nobody wants to get chudded in the NFL and fired after their first year. So I'm going to go with the Broncos to get the win in Arizona. Then the next game we got here in Chicago, I believe our own Sean Anderson is going to be at this game. He's going to be eating a baker's dozen when it comes to bowl of sausage. Hope he has a heart attack or two. No, I don't, because I want him to come back in one piece. But we got the New England Patriots. We got the Bears. And Brandon, who are you taking? New England only a 3-point favorite in this one.
Well, that would seem just about right. The Chicago Bears should be able to hang with New England, but I think there's just going to be too many things that Tom Brady will be able to do. And Tom Brady obviously was able to get the win against the Chiefs on Sunday night, which was a great game. I mean, certainly a game that if you didn't watch it, I mean, it almost be worth going back and watching the whole thing because it was really entertaining. But the Chicago Bears, what they showed, or didn't show me on Sunday is that there's still some problems, and I know that they were playing in Miami. I know it was hot. I know that they were tired, but there was a lack of tackling on guys they should have gotten. There were some problems in the secondary, and if there are problems in the secondary come Sunday and you can't guard Gronk and you can't guard Edelman, it's not going to end up being a great day. So because of that, I'm going to say the New England will get the win. It won't be a blowout, but New England, they win.
Hey, Brandon, do you remember last week what was one of the reasons I said that the Bears were going to lose to Miami? Because what was it going to be?
Because of the heat. It was going to be hot.
It was going to be hot. And I remember in the comment section, people kind of ripping me a little bit because, oh, yeah, that's right. We're going to lose because it's hot. I'm sorry. Watching that game when everything was going wrong for the Bears, could not help but have a huge grin on my face because of the comment section, because I like being right and proving others wrong. So that was just a happy moment for me. I am going to continue my trend, which actually, I got to say this for Bears fans. I have so far this year in your pickage lineage, I picked against you week 1. I was right. I picked with you week 2. I was right. I picked, let's see, usually I pick against them, so let's see where they are. I think I picked against you and was wrong, or did you guys have a bye week 3? I don't even know. Usually Mark picks you. Oh, I picked you.
Bye week 4.
I picked you guys week 3. I was correct. Then the bye week 4. Week 5, I picked. Let's see. Mark usually picks you guys. So where is Mark's pick? The point is, the Bucks I picked against you. I was wrong. Usually I pick against you. Usually I'm wrong, but I haven't picked against you the whole time. That's my point. I'm picking against you this week, though. Tom Brady is going to do enough. If Patrick Mahomes didn't have enough to outlast Tom Brady, neither will Mitchell Trubisky and the Bears. Also, one thing I want to add, Brandon, because I just saw this, to go back to the Thursday night game one more time, did you see the quote from Von Miller today about the game in Arizona being a must-win?
I think I may have briefly seen it on ESPN.com, but
so,
I can't remember.
Just for everyone out there, Von Miller said, and I quote, "I wouldn't say it's a must-win, but we're going to kick their ass, though. Make sure you put that out there. We're going to kick their ass." So, yet again, why I'm picking the Broncos to go ahead and win that game. Next game we got, though, is a London game. It'll start at 8:30 Central Time here for us in Chicago. We got the Titans at 3-3. We got the Chargers at 4-2. Chargers are 6.5-point favorites. I am going to ride with the Chargers, even though sometimes funky things happen in these London games. So the Titans have a chance to get the win. What are you thinking going into the London game between the Titans and the bolt-up Chargers?
I'm going to go with L.A. They have really been playing consistent football as of late. They just came off a big win over the Browns in Cleveland. This is a Tennessee team that they're just, I mean, it's just like their offense reminds me of Eeyore, just so depressed, just not a lot going on, really sad, oh, how's the offense doing? Oh, all right. I mean, it's that's what it reminds me of. So there's just nothing going on there. So it's got to be L.A. in this one. I know you say some funky things have happened in London, but I don't think there's going to be anything too funky about the way that Los Angeles is going to get the win.
Well, the next game to me is a very interesting game, and many people are going to go, why, Ricky? It's just the Bills and the Colts. But it is interesting to me because Josh Allen will not be playing in this one. He is injured, so he will be out. And because of that, many people don't know who should start for the Bills, and that is correct because 5-pick Peterman is the next up on the depth chart. Because Josh Allen will not play this game, it's in Indy. Indy is actually favored in this one. I am going to go with the Colts to get their second win of the season, hurting their draft stock and bringing the Bills closer to a number 1 pick. What are you thinking about the Bills and the Colts in Indy?
Well, for Buffalo, first of all, I'm not starting Peterman. I'm starting Derek Anderson. And then for Indianapolis, I think Indianapolis gets the win here. There isn't going to be much, not that I can foresee, coming from the Buffalo passing game, because there hasn't been much.
Mm-hmm.
They have limited resources at wide receiver. Kelvin Benjamin is not panning out. He should have kept his mouth shut and stayed in Carolina. And Zay Jones, he's not doing a whole lot. Charles Clay, there's no really jump off the page names where you're like, whoa, he's good. No, there's nothing. And then LaShawn McCoy's starting to come around a little bit, but I think this is a game where the game script is going to call for a lot of passing. And if it becomes one of those, the Indianapolis Colts are going to be able to beat you.
Well, and the next one...
So I'm going with Indy.
The next one is, and so far, Primetime Podcast we are agreeing on all the games so far. Maybe we differ on this one. The 2-3 Detroit Lions coming off a bye, going to play Brock the Cock-a-doodle-doo, and the Miami Dolphins, who are 4-2 after beating the Bears this past weekend. What are you thinking? You going with D-Town, or are you going with the Miami Dolphins this Sunday?
I think the Detroit Lions are going to be able to do what the Bears couldn't, and that was put the Dolphins away. The Lions are coming off their bye. They are coming off a win against the Packers, in which they saw Mason Crosby try and lose his job. I mean, it looked like he was actually trying to lose his job out there in that game. But I'm going to say the Detroit wins. I think they're going to look at the film against that Chicago game, and they're going to shut down Albert Wilson. That's going to be one guy they're going to be keen in on. How do you make sure that when he gets the football, there are guys swarming him at the point that he makes that catch, making sure that he doesn't get any yak against them. So I think that Detroit will win.
See, I'm going to go on the other side. This is the first game we are disagreeing on. I'm going with Detroit with Miami, because Miami, they just won a close game, and Detroit likes to lose close games this year on the road. They lost by 2 to the Cowboys in Dallas. They lost by 3 to the Niners in San Fran. Same thing will happen in Miami. It'll be a 3-point Miami Dolphin win, and they will go to 5-2, and everyone will be going, what? They're 5-2, keeping even with the New England Patriots. What is going on with Miami? As they will get the win over the Detroit Lions. Then coming up next, you guys know who I'm going to pick for this one, even though we're only a 3-point favorite. Vikings going into New York. Many people, there was an article this week saying, as Sam Darnold made the Jets the kings of New York. And it's like, I'm happy for you, New York. You found your future, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. You guys still got a long way or a little way to go. I got the Vikings getting the win in this one, although it could be surprisingly close in my mind, but I'm still going to be confident in my team and pick the Vikings. What are you thinking?
I think that we'll probably see a close game in this one. The Minnesota Vikings defense, while they looked really good against the Eagles, they didn't show up in the game against the Rams. New York has come to show that they have a lot of weapons and that they can break out that running game at any time and run for a whole lot of yards against whoever it might be. And also, too, Sam Darnold, you've got to give it to the young guy. He can make some plays. He can make some good throws. Yes, as a young rookie, you're always going to have that you're trying to do too much, be over-aggressive, and that's what Minnesota, I think, might be able to take advantage of, and that's why I think that the Minnesota Vikings will get the win this weekend. But it's going to be a close one. It's going to come right down, I think, towards the last couple of minutes. It's either going to be a game-winning touchdown or a field goal for the Vikes.
Well, and the next game, Brandon, we've got the Carolina Panthers going into Philly to play the Philadelphia Eagles. And last week I picked against the Panthers because my analysis wasn't really that in-depth. It was just the easy Well, they lost to the Falcons on the road. It's been their only loss. They can't win on the road, so I'm picking the Redskins. And the Redskins got the win over the Panthers. I'm going same thing this week. You notice I said in Philly. This one's on the road. The Panthers are a completely different team on the road compared to in Carolina. I'm going with fly, Eagles, fly to get the win over the Eagles to get the win over the Panthers in Week 7 of the NFL. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm going Philly too. I think they get the win at home. Big win last week against the Giants on the road in Carolina. Kind of a disappointing loss, I think, to Washington. So they're going to stay on the road, and I think it'll be another loss to the Eagles.
And this next team almost beat the Falcons on a designed play, Brandon. It was designed no matter how bad it looked on the field. It was a designed play, I guess. But the Buccaneers come back home and are 3-point favorites over the Browns. Who you got? You going with Cleveland on the road, or you going with TB?
I went with Cleveland last week, and they made me look dumb. They made me look really stupid. I'm going to go with Cleveland again this week. Don't even care that they might make me look stupid. That Tampa Bay defense is bad. And yes, you just fire your defensive coordinator, but you don't fix the whole problem in 1 week. So I am going to say Cleveland. They're going to find a lot of holes in that Tampa Bay defense. I think Jameis Winston's going to get picked off a couple of times. This is not going to be a great game for Tampa Bay. This is going to be a very nice day for Baker Mayfield. Cleveland wins.
Yeah, people are going to get upset, but I got to agree with you again. And really only one game we've disagreed on so far. I don't like the Buccaneers right now, and they're kind of proving after winning 2 close games why I had them as my projected number 1 pick at the end of the year. Now, the Giants are going to make sure that I'm wrong on that, but the Bucs are still going to be bad and probably be a top 10 pick at the end of this year. So I'm going to go with the Browns and Baker Mayfields to get the win over the Bucs. Then the game we mentioned in our Jaguar segment, we've got the Texans and those Jaguars taking on each other at TIAA Bank Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville only a 5-point favorite. What are you thinking, B? Texans or Jags?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jacksonville. I'm going to say that their defense finally wakes up again, and they're going to be able to bring a lot of pressure. They're going to be able to bring a good pass rush against this offensive line of Houston. They're going to have Deshaun Watson on the run all afternoon. It's going to be a tough day for the Houston Texans. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars will get the win.
Yeah, I'm on the other side of you. I'm going with Houston in this one. I think this is going to be one where Houston wins by 2 or 3 points, and it's a close one. It kind of digs in Jacksonville's side, and they just go, oh, come on, another one, another close loss to a divisional opponent, and kind of takes the wind out of some of the sails in Jacksonville. Coming up next, though, we've got the Saints and the Ravens. Ravens 2.5-point favorites. I am going to ride with them to get the win at home over the Saints. How about you?
The Ravens put on a great show last week with 11 sacks, a franchise record. It was incredible. Who would have thought? I mean, who would have thought that would have happened? They won 21-0 against Tennessee, but let's remember that was Tennessee. They weren't playing against Drew Brees. They weren't going against Alvin Kamara. They weren't going against Mark Ingram. There was no Michael Thomas. Guess what? All those guys are on the field this weekend. The Baltimore defense will be good, but they will not be having the same type of success they had last week. There's going to be too many offensive weapons for New Orleans, and the Saints get the win.
And then the next game, I feel like this is going to be an easy pick, and I'm wondering why. Like, I feel like this is going to be kind of like the Purdue-Illinois game in the college side, where I'm looking at it going, really? This team is only a 10-point favorite? But Rams and Niners, is this an easy one? Go Rams in this one? Like, the Rams are the easy pick, right?
Hey, my heart goes out for San Francisco. They should have won that game against the Green Bay Packers. But as I tweeted last night, there's only 2 teams who can win games like that. It is the Patriots and it is the Packers. And it's Tom Brady and it's Aaron Rodgers. As much as it disappoints me, those are the 2 teams that can do that. But Todd Gurley ran for 208 yards this past week. Make it 209 this weekend against San Francisco. I'm kidding. That will not happen. But the Los Angeles, they should win this one pretty handily.
When it comes to Todd Gurley, man, you are going to have a weird week. You want to know why? Because on our What's Your Fantasy team, both you and I have Todd Gurley, so we want him to do well. But in the personal MVP league, I have Todd Gurley, and I'm playing you, so you might not want Todd Gurley to play well. So it'll be an interesting Rams game.
I'll beat you with somebody else. I'll beat you with somebody else.
Yeah, Joe Mixon will show up and bring the pain when they play the Sunday night game. But the last day game, we'll have the Cowboys and the Redskins. Washington is only a 1.5-point favorite. Who takes over control or joint control if the Eagles win as well of the NFC East after this week?
Yeah, I might surprise you here. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys.
All right,
I'm going to say that they come to life. I am thinking a big week for Ezekiel Elliott. He'll have a big week against Washington, and this Dallas defense might even get a couple of turnovers against Alex Smith. This is going to be a good game, but I think Dallas wins on the road.
Yeah, I am going to go with the Redskins because of two reasons. First off, there's a pattern with Dallas where they lose a game, then they win a game, then they lose a game, then they win a game, then they lose a game, then they win a game. This would be the lose a game in that pattern. But also what fits it is they win in Dallas, they lose away from Dallas. And because of that, I'm picking the Redskins to win in Landover, Maryland. They are on a win streak. I know so are the Cowboys after winning last week as well. But the Cowboys don't play well on the road, and that's why I am going to pick the Redskins to win. And then our two primetime games. The first one, I was telling you, the thing I hate is back-to-back primetime games for the same team. Like, on the same night. Like if it was a Monday night game, I wouldn't care. But back-to-back Sunday night games for the Chiefs, I just feel like, come on, we got to give them back-to-back ones. But the Bengals and the Chiefs will take on each other on Sunday night. Who you going with, Chiefs or the Bengals?
Well, we saw a great, excellent use, by the way, of Bengals. But we saw a great game last Sunday night in Foxborough. That was outstanding. 43-40 final score. We're going to see an equally good game, I think, this Sunday night with the Bengals in Kansas City. The Bengals have been very, very good. They lost a heartbreaker to Pittsburgh this past week. Kansas City, you could also say, lost a heartbreaker to the Patriots. But the young kid, Patrick Mahomes, he threw 2 interceptions. Sure, sue him. He threw 4 touchdowns. Pat Mahomes was the reason the Chiefs were in that game. Pat Mahomes was the reason the Chiefs came back in that game. The Chiefs defense, they struggled again, for the most part. But this is a kid who just keeps getting it done. He keeps making great plays. His guys are in the right spot at the right time. They are in Arrowhead. It is the toughest place to play, and Cincinnati's going to find that out on Sunday night. The Kansas City Chiefs get a big win.
And then we've got one more game, the Monday night game. I feel like this is going to be...
You didn't pick.
Oh, I didn't pick? Oh, the Chiefs. It's an easy one for me, the Chiefs. They've got Patrick Mahomes. He's been phenomenal. The only reason he lost last week was because he played the Patriots. He played Tom Brady, and there's probably only a few people that can beat Tom Brady, and his name is Nick Foles. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Or Eli Manning.
Or Eli Manning, or...
Eli.
Elite Manning, as some people like to call him. But we're going to talk about Eli Manning. Falcons and Giants. Who you got in this one?
Well, this is the Falcons' last game that they'll win for a while, so I hope they enjoy it. It's in Atlanta, New York. It's just a dysfunctional team right now. Like I tweeted out the other night on last Thursday, if they could just put Saquon in it, the quarterback, the running back, the wide receiver, the offensive line, the defense, the quarterback coach, the head coach, the GM, then they'd be a good team. But they can't do that. So right now, the Giants are just in a state of dysfunction. They're going to stay with Eli Manning. I understand, but it's not the right move. They've got to move on from Eli. They should have done it in the offseason. Right now, the management for the Giants, there's just a lot of question marks. There's a lot of question marks with the decision making in the front office, and you just have to wonder why. You just have to wonder why, because it could have been a clean break. I'm trying not to go on too much of a tangent because this is just a picks video, but it could have been a clean break. The Giants could have been in a different spot right now. They're not, and the Giants are going to hurt all season because of it. Atlanta, they will get the win. They have got so much offense, just not enough defense. But I still don't think that that's going to lead to a New York victory. Atlanta wins.
Yeah, I am going with Atlanta as well. I wanted to pick the Giants. I'll be completely honest. I wanted to. But the last 2 times this season I have picked them to win games this year, they have lost. So I am completely against picking the Giants for the foreseeable future. I think the Falcons go ahead and get the win over the G-Men. And Brandon, before we wrap everything up, I want to ask you a question. So you and I on the Primetime Podcast this week, go ahead and check it out. Part 2 should be dropping later on today on YouTube. You can catch the whole thing on the Primetime Podcast Blog Talk Radio page and iTunes and stuff, of course. But we did our big board for the NFL Draft. NFL Draft season is officially here for MVP, and we both had Joey Bosa very high on our big board. He decided to withdraw from Ohio State and focus on getting better for the draft. I just wanted to ask you your thoughts on that after we had recorded our big board for the Primetime Podcast.
Yeah, Ricky, I saw that earlier today, and I think that my sentiments would be the exact same of the tweet I saw from Desmond Howard, and that is interesting. Because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, right now. Yes, you're injured. I get it. You want to really focus on the draft, but there's plenty of players that they get injured and they want to focus on the draft too, but they also want to make sure that their stock is going to stay where it is or go up. Where we had him, it wouldn't go up because you can't go up from 1, but I think this could hurt him. I think that this could hurt him because he got in, 3-4 games this season? And, yeah, we know what he can do. But if there's another guy that comes out and just flashes for the rest of the season, what's to say that Bosa holds right there? What's to say that he holds right there? Because then he won't be able to say, and people won't have anything else to say, well, man, I mean, he came back after the injury and he continued to be really solid. Or is this like a Michael Porter Jr. where, yeah, he misses a whole year, basically. Comes back for a couple of games and still doesn't look right, but it still doesn't hurt his stock too much. Could it be something like that? I'm just really interested that he just completely withdrew from school to focus on the draft. I don't necessarily. My initial reaction is I don't like the move, but it may end up being okay for him, but. I also think, too, is my final thought on it, and I'll get your reaction, Ricky, is that and now in my mind, the last thing I think of with Nick Bosa, he was injured. He got injured. It's going to be the last thing I thought. I mean, he was good. He got injured. It's the lasting memory in my thought of his college career. Well, he got hurt to end his college career. Never came back.
The reason why
kind of a poor taste.
Well, and the reason why for me, why I'm on the opposite side reaction of you, my first reaction was, all right, he gives two shits about the Ohio State program. And I'm not saying he should. You could be on either side of that if you want, but it just told me he cares about the draft and making money. And I think this could be one where I don't think it hurts him a ton. I mean, is it ideally what you want to do? No. But I don't think it hurts him a ton. He's already the number 1 ranked prospect in many people's minds. We saw good things from him before he was injured. And as long as he comes back for like the combine or whatever and works out well and has good performances at the combine, this could be just one of like, you know what? I am not going to do kind of related to the NFL. I'm not going to do what Earl Thomas did. I'm not going to work myself to come back for this year to put my body on the line to maybe re-injure myself this year before the draft. Then I'm truly fucked. This is just him saying, hey, you know what? I'm worried about getting paid, and I know where I'm at, and it would be different if he was like, I don't know, the top 20 prospect and not the number 1 prospect in the draft. And that's the only reason he can do this is because he is the number 1 or number 2, depending. There are a few people out there that put Oliver ahead of him, but he's one of the top 2 prospects in the NFL draft early on right now, and that would just be my quick thought on it.
My really final quick point
Go
is,
ahead.
My thought would be, well, how bad is this injury? Is he not coming back because it's going to keep him out for plenty more weeks? I mean, how bad is it really? I mean, do we know? I think we thought that he was going to come back in November, but if he's not, I mean, in Ohio State is a potentially, as a the season end of the day, they're a playoff team.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be part of that. He doesn't want anything to do with that. There's some question marks that go up in my mind with that. I don't necessarily, like I said, original thought, automatic kind of reaction is I don't think I'm a fan of it.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, it's probably just, hey, you know what? I could probably come back, but why should I put my body on the line for this team when I really only care about getting to the NFL? But that's going to do it for the Onside Kick this week. Let us know what you think about anything that we talked about. Nick Bosa, our picks, Jaguars, Amari Cooper, Le'Veon Bell. Let us know down below in the comments section down below. But some housekeeping here at the end. Make sure to check out patreon.com/mostvaluedpodcast to help support the channel. You can also do so by getting yourself an MVP t-shirt down below in the description as well. You can also get that at mostvaluablepodcast.com, where you can also catch MVP each and every day. And then last but not least, if you could please go to iTunes and Apple Podcasts and give the Onside Kick a 5-star rating. It would really mean the world to us. B, I got to thank you again for double duty this time on the Onside Kick. You filled in last week. You filled in again today. Hopefully I get Mark back next week, but I always know if Mark cannot do it, you're always willing to come over and talk some NFL. So I thank you for filling in for Mark this week.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ricky. I enjoyed it. I always enjoy talking football with you.
Well, that's going to do it for the Onside Kick. Want to thank you guys for listening on podcast services around the world. Want to thank you guys for listening on YouTube this week. And as always, have a good day, everybody.